Welcome to the CCTV Public Access Sports Show with Dan and Stu. Here are your hosts, Daniel Hendler and Stuart Friedel.
Welcome back to the first official broadcast. I know welcome back sounds weird. Of the newly renamed the www.claremonttelevision.com presents the Public Access Sports Show with Dan and Stu, as always presented by Lou and Sylvia. That has not changed.
That will never change.
That will hopefully never change.
I'm
not even going to say hopefully.
We might add a little Bam Bam to that
we
one
might
day.
need to do some Bam Bam.
But until then, this is the first ever broadcast that is officially being debuted on ClaremontTelevision.com. Of course, later in the week, you're going to have Scene on Screen, Kramer Rants, Microwave It, Minute Meals, but this
every day. And let's run through that really quick. We got, so coming at you tonight, Wednesday night, you got the sports show. Every Thursday, you got a new Scene on Screen. During the weekends, it's kind of the wild card weekends, as Stu aptly named that. We got Volcano U coming. We've got Most Embarrassing Moments with Julie Sue. We've got
literally thousands.
I would
of
say
shows in production.
that's inaccurate. I'd say tens of thousands.
Well, that's an amount of thousands.
That's true.
Literally tens of
I'm just
thousands.
trying to specify it more. But and then Sunday nights, we got a new Kramer Rants coming your way. Monday nights, I think it's
Microwave It or Minute Meals.
Minute Meals, and then Tuesdays and nights Microwave It. The schedule's on www.ClaremontTelevision.com.
Where you are right now if you're watching it.
Exactly.
Unless you stumbled upon this on Google Video. Which I have a feeling we're going to get a large contingent of viewers from the Google Video, random Googlers. But
maybe. That's why, I did tag it with a bunch of different sexual acts
Perfect.
that people might be
Perfect.
wanting to look up. So anyway, segue right, which sexual acts segues perfectly into our first segment.
Well, really quickly, let's buy some shirts. Neon pink.
Oh, they're great.
American Apparel, ClaremontTelevision.com shirts, $10 a piece. Contact information is up there on the top of the site. Email me with your size. We'll get you one. They are fantastic. That Lionel Richie graphic you see up there is what is going to be right on that part, the bottom part of the shirt. So if you tuck it in, it'll just be a plain neon pink shirt. But
do Stuart.Friedel@pomona.edu. That's the email.
there you go.
We'll put it up there on a graphic.
There you
That'll
go.
make some people happy. So
Now
anyway,
let's get into sports.
That will segue perfectly into our first segment, some trade updates. And NBA injury/trade updates.
Well, let's do the injury really quickly first. Yao Ming, broken foot, out for the season, possibly for the
Devastating.
Olympics. Did you hear that too?
No, I didn't know that.
Possibly out for the Olympics as well.
China is not going to be happy about
It's
that.
a big blow to Houston.
Winners of 12 straight, actually, and we'll see whether, I think they're playing tonight, whether they're able to keep that streak going without him. But, he's really come into his own this year. Is when, 22 points a game, and I think he's finally living up to his potential.
Mm-hmm.
After, I don't know how many years, 4? This is his 4th or 5th year in the league, I think. But
Fifth, according to our stats boy.
Yeah.
30 in a row with an injury.
30 in a row with an injury,
That's not a
stat boy
good
tells
sign.
us.
Not a good sign.
We should mention this stat boy is in no way affiliated with the ESPN stat boy.
I guess we have to say that even though he is actually the same person.
Yeah,
But,
but he's not affiliated with,
Not affiliated with
with
ESPN.
himself.
No.
So
So let's touch up on, since we've last broadcast, we've had Jason Kidd going to the Mavericks. And what I think, I thought the Heat trade, the Heat-Phoenix trade was the most lopsided deal. But looking at this trade with the Nets just got, to be fair to the Mavericks, they got a great point guard. But the Nets just, killed them in this trade, I think. They got Devin Harris. They got 2 draft picks. They got a 2008 and a 2010. And here's the thing. The 2008 pick is conditional, which means that if Dallas misses the playoffs this year, they get to keep their lottery pick, and the pick moves to the 2009. But because they've basically given away their future with this team that is is definitely making the playoffs this year, might not be there in 2010, the smart thing would have been the 2010 pick conditional.
yeah, and you know what? A lot of teams have been mortgaging their future this year.
That's
It's
true.
gonna be a really interesting, transition in the NBA coming up. The trade I want to talk about is the Cleveland Cavaliers trade.
That's another big one.
Landing Ben Wallace and Wally Sharpshooting Zerbiak to complement King James. I think the headline I saw on one website was the King's Court just got bigger. And I guess that's going to be, obviously they're in the East, so that conference more up for the taking.
And I've said it all year. I don't think Boston's winning the East. They just lost 3 in a row. They've lost 3 out of 4. They won last night against a terrible Clippers team.
Yep.
But I think the East is still up for grabs. don't be fooled by Boston's record. Detroit, I think, is the best team in the East right now. I think Orlando has a great shot of winning the East. And I think right now, with this deal, Cleveland's got a chance.
Well, let's talk Detroit for a second. Detroit crushing Phoenix.
The Shaq-led, not led, I guess, but the Shaq
into
Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. And it's just, I think people are still, I still don't know what to make of this trade. I still am not sure because it's like every other night he's doing well so far.
Yeah.
So,
and the question is, was it addition, like beyond the Shaq part of it, was it addition by subtraction with Sean Marion? As I thought it would be.
I think it's still too early to tell. We're going to have to revisit this subject next week. But I'm worried, though, that, I feel like I watched some clips from that game, and they were taking a lot. They showed the stat on how many three-pointers Phoenix missed. They're taking even more than usual. And I think the fact that Shaq is there, it kind of, it's stopping Nash from going into the lane as much.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. So. And the Heat have not improved.
They're still losing. Well, how much worse can you get? I guess you're right. Not improved is the right word. Is the operative word. But what's your take on that?
You know what? Forget about everything else. If we had just gotten rid of Shaq, period, end of story.
That's true. That makes you. It doesn't matter who you got. You're a better team right now.
I like
you have better prospects.
I like Sean Marion. I'm very excited. I guess we're gonna cut to a commercial now.
Let's talk really quick. One last thing about the Chicago-Cleveland deal, right in the third time. It worked out well for every team. That's the good thing, is that
that's what you're happy about a trade.
That Chicago signing for Ben Wallace was miserable. It didn't work out at all. They got Drew Gooden out of it. It was a good deal. Seattle got rid of Zerbiak. They're just dumping salary at this point. And Seattle's building for the future when they become the Oklahoma City Sonics. And they've got Durant. They've got Chris Wilcox. They got good young kids. And
Definitely.
Zerbiak was a big free agent signing that just wasn't going to fit into that model anyway.
Didn't pan out as they had hoped.
Yeah.
Cut to commercial now.
We'll do it.
This is going to be a quick show for you guys. We touched on the Heat. Coming up after the commercial, we are going to touch on a few more Florida sports. I guess I would call myself the resident Florida sports expert at the 5 Cs. Probably the only Floridian who cares about sports at the 5 Cs.
You're definitely somewhere in the top 100.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to give a quick congratulations to the Miami Hurricanes. Then we've got Marlins news and Dolphins news, which actually I would say are big enough to be applicable to the global sports world. So stay tuned after the break.
After this hilarious Kramer Rants promo.
Is it on? Yeah. No, is it recording now? It's only one of the cameras. It's on?
Yeah, it's recording.
Why are you getting, why is the shot like this? The shot could look better. I mean, do I have to look at people are gonna be looking at me at my show, okay? Kramer Rants. They wanna see Kramer. Kramer Rants. Not Brian plays with the controls. Not let's see what angles, what green screen we can do. That's not the name of the show! The name of the show is Kramer Rants on CCTV. Get it right, Brian. Stop messing with the cameras. They're gonna get confused. I'm in white now. Oh! Come on, Brian. Figure it out. I'm just as pale. Are you making fun of my paleness? I don't want this. I don't want to be on this show anymore.
Welcome back to the CCTV Public Access Sports Show with Dan and Stu.
Welcome back to the www.claremonttelevision.com presents the Public Access Sports Show with Dan and Stu. And Stu's got some Florida sports news for us.
I just want to point out that we are going to be changing the name every other episode to ClaremontTelevision.com and ClaremontTelevision.com. Because both of those sites do work to get you
both
here.
Right. Don't worry about the teas. We used to have to tell people about the teas. I don't even mention it anymore. When people ask me when people ask me about it, I say,
yeah, people
give it a try.
People stop
Whichever one you want.
Stop me in the airport,
or when you're outside
Chicago.
the press.
Yeah, there you go. First of all, quick congratulations to the Miami Hurricanes defeating the Duke Blue Devils for the first time since the first time the two teams ever met, which was 40 years ago, or more, 45 maybe even. Huge victory for the Canes. Hopefully will be the thing that pops the bubble for them, or blows up the bubble without popping it. What is the bubble analogy?
Inflates the bubble until the bubble encompasses the NCAA
Okay,
tournament.
there we go.
But,
it's like a 3D Venn diagram of bubbleage.
And I just got to throw in there, this is going to be a segue to our next segment when we get there, but they defeated Duke, knocking Duke from the #1 seed.
There we go.
Which is what we're going to be talking about next segment. But this segment,
and we might even address the Canes specifically as a bubble team. This segment, though, we are in Florida sports. Miami Dolphins, first pick of the draft. Who are they taking? Who are they trading, or are they trading the pick? I'd like
to hear your input.
Okay, we've got Darren McFadden is the best player available in the draft, but the only thing we have right now is running back. Offensive line is finally decent for the first time in a long time. Jake Long is available. I think that kid's the pick. He's smart. He's a hard worker. He is incredible at football. I would take Jake Long. Glenn Dorsey was the talk before, but I guess now he's a little bit injured. Chris Long, defensive end, is a little bit of a talk. Try to build a defense for the future. Mm-hmm. I personally either trade the pick or take Jake Long.
You know, we saw that last year with Miami. They bypassed Brady Quinn, right? When they could have taken him, and they ended up, who was it?
Ted Ginn Jr., who, you know what? I'm not gonna say he was worthy of the 9th pick, but maybe the 15th pick. He was not near the bust people thought he was. He was predicted to go at the end of the first round, and if he had gone at the end of the first round, people would be saying that he was a steal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 9th pick was a reach, but he was not that bad.
I don't think Darren McFadden. I don't think they should go. I mean, when you need as many pieces, we saw this with the Oakland Raiders last year. When you need as many pieces as the Dolphins do, I feel like you want to go with a safe pick, maybe more than necessarily the kid that has the best potential.
Especially when you already have, that's the one position that you have shored up.
Oh, exactly.
And beyond that, I mean, look, you take a guy like Orlando Pace, you give the greatest show on turf for the next 8 or 9 years, right? Mm-hmm. You take a guy like Warren Sapp, you've got the best defense in the league for the next 8 or 9 years. There are ways, without taking a glorifying position, where you can really build yourself a solid future, and especially when you have these positions where there isn't much movement, like offensive linemen. I'm not going to say they tend to stick around more than other people, because you might even argue that they tend to journey more than other people. But the ones that are really franchise solid players, a good team will not let them go. A well-run team will not let them go. And
usually they're undervalued too, which is better. Although we saw with the Super Bowl this year, I think linemen are going to be, in much higher demand than they were before.
I mean, as stupid as this is for me to say, if you've ever played franchise mode in Madden, you know that the trick to a good team is picking a good offensive line. Florida Marlins signed a deal to get a stadium. Finally, I've been waiting for this for so long. You might not remember this, or you might remember this. Freshman and sophomore year, I used to write letters to the Marlins organization begging them not to move the team. This is what they needed. Beyond that, the deal coincides with right around when Hanley Ramirez's contract will be running out. The goal is to get interest in the team when they get the new stadium, so they have enough money so that they will actually start being a medium to big market team in the future, starting with Hanley Ramirez, the man who, by the way, right now is the #2 overall rated player on ESPN.com's Fantasy Baseball Player Rater, despite not having a single bit of insurance in the lineup.
Congratulations. I'm going to shake you around the nose. Congratulations.
I feel bad blocking them.
I still think they should have signed A-Rod. We talked about this before, about why, for a small market team, to sign a big market player can be advantageous to you.
We missed
more so than being advantageous to a big market team.
There was one thing that we missed that Lee Friedel pointed out after we had done that.
I got to hear this.
There is is it the luxury tax? I think it is the luxury tax, some sort of tax, where the top 5 big market teams pay the bottom 5 market teams.
That's why the Marlins having a $30 million payroll is just absurd.
If
they're not making a single dollar in ticket sales.
If they had signed A-Rod, they would not have been in the bottom 5 anymore, just with his salary alone, which would have not just cost them the $20 million salary, but have also cost them that tax or that subsidy, which means it's like a $40 million signing, not a $20 million.
But I mean, the purpose of the luxury tax wasn't to put money in Jeffrey Lurie's pocket. It was so you could have the money to go ahead and sign a player like A-Rod and get yourself out of that bracket. I mean, these guys that's the problem with Tampa Bay. I don't know if that market can sustain a team. Kansas City, I don't know if that market can sustain a team.
I mean,
Miami?
Miami should be able to sustain
I know
a
that
team.
Florida's a bad place to watch a you don't want to be outside in in a stadium in the summer, but still.
I'm hoping the dome is not just used to protect. Oh, it's a retractable dome. This new stadium. I'm hoping it's not just used to protect from rain. I'm hoping it's air conditioned and used to.
I think that's what they'll do. Don't they do that?
I hope so, but there's a lot of the hot Florida summer sun that some crazy people that aren't redheads like. I don't understand that.
Well, not everyone can be a day walker.
You know what? With the Hispanic population that we have in Florida, there is no excuse for us not to be a huge baseball.
Well, here's hoping.
I hope so. And you know what? If we could have kept Miguel Cabrera, ate his salary for 2 years, him and Hanley in the same lineup, we would have been contenders instantly.
Oh, easily. In the National League,
God.
the National League East, yeah.
God, so
that's the thing about the National League. Everyone's a contender. Doesn't matter. You guys are still contenders.
Well, that's almost the thing about baseball as a whole. I would even argue. Especially if the Devil Rays are signing Barry Bonds.
Oh, God. They're skyrocketing. They went
happens.
from last to first for me, right with that.
God. So I guess that's that for Florida sports. Coming up next, we're going to have some of our own bracketology.
Yes, screw Lunardi or whatever his name is.
Yes, that. Well, I mean, he's actually
two Jews are better than one.
I actually really enjoy it. I really enjoy.
I do like him. He's a nice guy. He's got a nice smile.
That's what it seems
he seems
like.
a genuinely nice guy.
His picture in the corner. But we got some bracketology. Probably hit the Canes again just because I'm wearing the shorts and because what else do I talk about?
And
what else?
One more plug. What goes great with shorts? A shirt. A ClaremontTelevision.com t-shirt.
Pink shirt. Ned, by the way, I've mentioned this before. I'm going to tell our audience. These are new Miami shorts, not the ones you guys have seen me in countless times before this.
It's true. It takes someone who sees them really, really closely on the floor after they've been taken off, like me, to know that. So.
Exactly. Or Ned.
I didn't
like to point out.
Let's cut to a commercial.
We got to get him a microphone.
We need to cut to a commercial. We're cutting to a commercial. We got some stuff to talk about. We'll be back in a second. Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Stu.
Right now, you're in the middle of another hilarious episode of the CCTV Presents the Public Access Sports Show.
But make sure to stay tuned after this because at 9 o'clock, coming up, part of Closed Circuit Television, is Ned Hallaby's Seen on Screen, the best movie show we have here on CCTV.
By far.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the CCTV Public Access Sports Show with Dan and Stu.
Welcome back to www.claremonttelevision.com presents Lewis and Sylvia present the Public Access Sports Show with Dan and Stu, brought to you by Bam Bam. I am Stu.
I'm Dan.
And right now we're going to hit up some college basketball, really quick bracketology segment. First of all, ACC, Duke is in, North Carolina is in. Do they only have two
both
teams?
likely top two seeds?
Do they only have two teams?
No.
Clemson, Miami. What do you think?
They most likely deserve three teams, but I cannot see them getting less than 4. I feel like they're probably going to get 5 because they're the ACC. But I'm looking at this, and it's just it's a carousel. Whoever does better, whoever makes the finals of the ACC tournament, if it's not Duke or Miami, probably the two teams in the semifinals will get. I think you're looking at. You've got 4 teams that you could choose, I think 2 from, but the committee will probably take 3. And I'm looking at Maryland. They got that big win over North Carolina in North Carolina. You're looking at Miami, who's I think started well. They're kind of lower in the standings, but that win over Duke was huge. You've got Wake Forest, who is also won over Duke, who I think is right now I'd put ahead of Miami. And you've got
Clemson.
Clemson's
in probably.
Clemson
and Miami are very close to each other.
So right now, if you had to put it, I would actually give it to. I'd give Wake Forest first, then Clemson, then Miami, then Maryland.
Interesting. Doesn't Wake, or is this Georgia Tech? One of the teams is doing incredibly well against good teams, but is a losing record still.
That might be Tech. Wake actually, I think, is 7-5 right now in the ACC, and they do, coming off, there's got to be some of this stuff that comes into play in the committee that, Skip Prosser's death. They were picked last in every media poll to finish in the ACC, and coming up, and just if you finish with a winning record in the ACC, you're in, and that's the question. We've got about 3 or 4 games left. Who's going to finish with the winning record?
Let's see what happens. Bracketology, number one seeds right now, according to Bracketology, are Texas, Memphis, North Carolina, and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. You agree?
Right now, there's no way to disagree, I would say. But the question is, what are they going to? Who are going to be the top 4 when it's all said and done?
That's true, and I think that's what I guess I would like to speculate on. I think, you're going to get a number 1 seed out west. It's going to be the winner of the Pac-10, which is most likely. UCLA has a clear shot.
Going to be
through.
UCLA.
They're a tough game. They have Stanford coming into Pauley. I don't see Stanford pulling that out the way they shoot.
And the victory
free
over
throws.
Stanford is going to be that boost they need.
If Stanford goes ahead, beats UCLA, makes the finals, it's going to be Stanford or UCLA. I feel like if either one of those teams finishes winning the Pac-10 tournament, is going to be the number 1 out west. I still feel like. North Carolina and Duke, they're just both so good, but, Duke already got one in North Carolina. I think UNC evens this out.
I agree.
I think they could each oh, man, it's tough, but I think Memphis has got the best shot to finish number 1 because they really shouldn't lose another game.
Right.
And if they don't lose another game, they're number
1.
They're most likely going to be the number 1 overall because I don't see Tennessee making it through the rest of this year without losing. I could see it happening, but, they've got some tough games with Vanderbilt, which is happening as we're filming. Will be over when people see this. But at Vanderbilt is a tough game. They got at Kentucky coming up. They have and then the entire SEC tournament.
Yeah, so. which is extremely difficult. And if they can run the tables, obviously as the number 1 seed, if they run the tables, they're going to be probably the overall number 1. But if they run the tables, I would say they're the deserving overall number 1 too, and not just they fell into this place and they're going to keep it. Which. I'm just going to say it one more time. That preseason pick to win it all was Tennessee. Just throwing that out there one more time.
I predict a second-round exit because I hate Bruce Pearl.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing, and I do agree with that. Although the Memphis, the foul, the end of the Memphis game, incredible call.
That's true.
Incredible call.
You know what, Memphis? That free throw shooting just really turned me off in that game from Memphis. And you're not going to win tournament games when teams know that they can foul you and that you're going to shoot 50% from the line. They're going to if they're down by 10, if they're down by 4, they're going to start fouling you with 2 minutes left in the game. You're not going to feel confident. It's going to disrupt your rhythm, the way they like to play basketball. This is the same thing I see with, being on the West Coast. I watch UCLA Stanford. This is the same thing I see with Stanford. Good team cannot make a free throw. That's going to kill you in the tournament.
Yep, it's tournament. Oh.
So if it's not the possession arrow.
Salivating. What's today's date? The 20. The possession arrow. The one time.
Why? I will never make fun of the possession arrow again.
We're looking about 4 days away from March beginning. What are we? 3, 4, 5 days away from March.
3 actually. As the time this airs, we are 2 days away. No, leap year. 3 days away.
Leap year. Yeah, March is Sunday is the first, or Saturday is the first day of March.
Yeah.
Saturday is the first day of March. Meaning the tournament countdown is beginning. You will be hearing a lot about the tournament in their upcoming episodes. We're going to give you a quick little taste of the fact that Kramer of Kramer Rants, Friedel, and Hendler are involved in a fantasy baseball league together this year that you'll be hearing a ton about, I'm sure. March 9th is our draft to prepare for a pre- and post-draft special analysis, most likely including a link on the website to where you can view our league. It is publicly viewable. And
we'll keep track of that as the year rolls on, I guess.
As the year progresses, fantasy baseball is definitely one of our favorites. So we got March Madness coming up forever. We got fantasy baseball coming up forever. We got an in-depth NFL draft preview coming up in the next few weeks, and some more pro basketball.
Pro basketball will still do some more. Next week, I will give my top 5 most overrated teams in college basketball. I just thought of that right now.
And next week, we have the Peter Forsberg special. We have a 45-minute special about Peter Forsberg's return to the NHL.
And Peter Forsberg Memorial Special. It's going to be the first memorial special for someone that is still alive.
It's going to be fantastic. The first, on ClementTelevision.com.
On ClementTelevision.com.
Because we've done thousands of memorial specials.
Well, that's true. For people that are still alive, in anticipation of their death.
This has been CCTV.
Yeah.
I guess that's it for the week. You want to take us home?
Yeah, it's just a quick show today. It's like I know it still went like 30 minutes.
When we look at the bottom.
It's like an hour long. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll next week, as Stu said, plus going to get a guest on here. We're hoping for Coach Pat. I'm going to say that on the air
send him an email. Buy a shirt.
Buy a shirt. Buy 3 shirts.
Buy some shirts for your dogs.
And if you want to pay more than $10, I mean, that's the suggested donation.
But it's the minimum. The required minimum donation.
Required minimum donation. But good show.
Have a good week.
Have
a good week.
Welcome to ClementTelevision.com. Tell your friends.